The Week in Review from the Ingraham angle segment tonight. We continue our coverage of the presidential press conference today. Joining us now from Washington is Ms. Laura Ingraham. So, you heard Major and Carl and me bloviate all about it. What would you give? What grade on that press conference? What grade would you give the president?
Well, I'm going to give him a grade on the entire crisis bill because I think that's the relevant thing. I mean, what's happened over the last 5 weeks matters a lot more than what happened today. But look, he wanted to come out and look like he was angry and frustrated. Well, I should hope so. So I'll give him a D+ to be charitable. I'd prefer to give him an F, but, you know, I think you want to give people the benefit of the doubt on this show, so I'll give him a D+.
Now, you're giving him a D+ for not reacting quicker?
Bill, we heard from him today the following, that his daughters, when he's shaving, says, "Daddy, have you plugged the hole yet?" Right. We heard from him that, you know, this is why I don't do drill, baby, drill, sideswipe at Palin. You know, he was doing so much of his own environmental cleanup for his own PR and his own reputation and dispersing all of these chemicals of his own to try to, you know, push past the public disapproval. That, you know, but by the end of it, it was like, what are the results? What exactly are you doing? Why haven't you approved Bobby Jindal's request to give those permits for these berms? That is something for 2 weeks that has been lingering out there, and the administration agreed to one small section of these berms. That, to me, in the no-spin zone, that, to me, is not leadership. That's like, you know, consulting. That's not leadership. This is not a Thursday night seminar at Harvard.
He says that all of these things, you know, the berms and the cleanups and bringing the other booms, the berms, all that stuff, that it takes, number one, time. Number two, there's got to be environmental impact studies on it.
Environmental impact studies?
That's what he says.
This is the no-spin zone. The environmental impact in Louisiana, in Mississippi, in Alabama, the entire Gulf Coast, could be the worst thing the whole world has ever seen as an environmental disaster. And we're worried about environmental impact.
I'm not worried. I mean, I want to bring relief to the Gulf states as much as anybody does.
Bill, tonight, this morning, when he said he couldn't reach Salazar, you know, he was testifying, so he couldn't find out, you know, what was the story behind the firing of, or the resignation of the MMS director. Well, guess what he was doing this morning? He was meeting with the Duke basketball team. Now, I love basketball, and Duke is a great team. But when you have this unfolding in the Gulf, it's time to stop the fundraising for Barbara Boxer.
But Garrett and Cameron don't believe that. They believe that he knows perfectly well why the burn bomb was fired.
It did not pass the straight face test. That's not leadership. Leadership is, you better believe we fired somebody, and I'm going to fire anyone else who didn't do his or her job according to my guidelines.
Outside of not giving Governor Jindal the equipment that he needs, or says he needs, is there anything else that Obama could... You saw Carville yesterday go wild, right? James Carville on steroids? Oh, it's frightening.
Yeah, well it's not just James, though, Bill. It's thousands of people. I've interviewed fishing expedition companies. I've interviewed people down in the Gulf on my radio show.
Get very specific here. What else could Obama have done in the last 5 weeks that he didn't do?
Last week, Louisiana asked for more boats and more equipment. As far as I can tell, and reports today, they still haven't gotten an answer to that request. So they had to commandeer private boats to try to do some of the work for, you know, preventing the mass disaster there. That's the kind of stuff that does not speak to leadership. And I'm not speaking as a conservative. I'm speaking as someone who, my heart is breaking for the people on the Gulf Coast. They need leadership. Enough with this politics from Obama today. It was embarrassing. And my daughter and Daddy plugged the hole. I mean, that's ridiculous.
All right. Last question. Is there any parallel between Katrina's response and the oil spill's response? Do you see any historical parallel?
Yeah, this is a lot worse. I think this is going to be a lot worse for the Gulf Coast. I think the effects could last for decades and decades. And President Bush, as far as I can tell, the federal government was on site within a couple of days. This is federal territory in deep waters. This isn't state and local. This is federal territory. Took 9 days to call this an issue of national significance. It's a lot worse, in my mind, right now than Katrina was. And that is a sad commentary on where we are.
All right, Laura. Thanks very much. We appreciate it. Directly